How did the company do in those first few years? It was amazing. We were growing like gangbusters. From 1993 through the year 2000, it was straight line growth. It was really fantastic. Top products? Well, the first one, of course, our flagship course, which is still today the Effective Facilitator. This is where we teach the 10 fundamental principles of facilitation, a 4-day course. And it just is something that has been our flagship since the beginning. Number two has stayed number two since the beginning. It was our strategic planning facilitation, where we would take companies, executives through the driver's model. We would do it for the entire enterprise. Sometimes we'd do it just for a business unit. Sometimes for a department in the government, it might be for a center or for a branch or a division. So strategic planning with the driver's model has been number two. Number three at that time was just our meeting facilitation and consulting. And then our course, what was at the time called the Effective Consultant, now the Facilitative Consultant. And then 3%, a course that did tremendously well initially called Springboard, which was a on-site strategic training, experiential type of classroom experience. Had a great time with that. Well, as you can imagine, our customers were the big boys. It started out locally with folks like Georgia Power, the Centers for Disease Control, Coca-Cola, and then it started going nationally, and then before long, it was internationally. How did we get them? Well, for the most part, it was word of mouth. People heard about how great this class was, or they were leading facilitators, and people asked, hey, who have you used? So we were getting a lot of business just walking through the door. And so it was pretty beneficial. It was a fun time. Things were just happening all together. It just really was enjoyable. Well, there's no question on this one. We had a huge issue come up in the year 2000. And the lesson was, pay attention to cash. Cash matters. See, you can be extremely profitable, but if you're not bringing in cash, it was a problem. So at one point, we were a $2 million company. Our profit margin was about 10%, about $200,000. Well, let me break down the math for you so you can know what we're talking about. See, as a $200,000 annual revenue, we might have expenses of $1.8 million. So that means your profits were $200,000. Keep in mind, expenses were $1.8 million. Well, at that time, our clients owed us $1 million. Well, not only did they have our $200,000 in profit, they also had $800,000 that we needed to run the business. So our bank account was, essence, in deficit. Even though we were profitable, we just didn't have the cash. So how do we make up the $800,000? Well, we had maxed out our credit lines. Our house was mortgaged to the max. So we were definitely in not a good position cash-wise. The day of reckoning came. It was March 15th. I remember it. We sold a very large job. It was an IT requirements analysis job, and we were going to have to pay people initially on May 15th. And I knew we did not have the cash and would not have it. So what did I do? April 1, I went to the bank, explained them our situation, that we're having cash flow issues. However, we are in collection. We're focusing on collecting it because we have this huge job. We need to be paid out by May 15th. We really need to extend our credit line another $200,000. They said, Mr. Wilkinson, your numbers look all good. Don't see there's going to be a problem. Great. April 15th, I realized we hadn't heard from the bank. So I gave them a call back saying, hey, haven't heard from you. That payment that we're going to make March 15th, May 15th, how's it looking? The bank agent said, hey, you know what? We don't think it's going to be a problem at all, but there are a couple of other numbers I need from you. If you would send me this. I said, fine. May 1st, hadn't heard from the bank. I think you know where this is going. Called the bank. Said, oh, Mr. Wilkinson, I was about to call you. Just our underwriter needs just a couple more things, if you would. Went ahead and submitted those couple of more things. May 10th, I called the bank. The bank agent said, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilkinson, we're not going to be able to lend you the money. I said, what? Why not? He said, well, your accounts receivable is too high. I know. That's why we need the money. Well, I'm sorry, we just can't lend you the money. Well, you knew what my accounts receivables was on the first day I met you in April 1. How come you didn't tell me? Well, we thought maybe you'd find the money some other way. I was livid. Now, I can tell you, I've been only truly upset about 4 times in my life. I was so upset. The words that came out of my mouth to that bank agent, you would not be proud of your former managing director. It was not good. Well, I said, well, fine. Clearly, you can't say yes. Let me talk to somebody who can. Let me speak to your supervisor. Well, she's going to say, let me speak to your supervisor. Talk with the supervisor. Supervisor, sorry, Mr. Wilkinson. Clearly, you can't say yes. I'd like to speak to your supervisor. Well, our supervisor, let me speak to your supervisor. Went up a level. I kept going up a level. I kept going up. On May 13th, I can remember that night because I was having many, many sleepless nights. And I got to the point where my prayer was, Father, leadership strategies is all yours. If the company needs to close down, I am open to doing that. I will follow your lead. If I need to go to 5 friends, each of them to ask them to loan me $20,000 so I can pay my employees, I have no pride. I'd be glad to do that if that's what you want me to do. If you feel like the best thing for us to do is to go to my employees and say, we can't pay you this month, I will do that. You show me what I'm to do. I'm open to doing it. It took me a long time to get there, but I got there. The morning of May 14th, I get a call from an executive vice president of the bank. He says, Mr. Wilkinson, we really can't lend you this money. You really don't qualify for it. But we have treated you so poorly. I'm going to go ahead and authorize the loan. Woo! I did my happy dance. Oh my God. Wonderful thing. But I never forgot the lesson, an important one. Pay attention to cash. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. It's cash. Cash is king. Well, with that lesson, I felt like we were well on our way. Little did I know